Hi, welcome to the quiz. This very quiz can be done on quizalto.com, where you'll be able to get instant feedback with detailed answers and explanations. The link is in the description below. Quizalto has an extensive library of quizzes you can take for free, and we also have an impressive number of premium quizzes for more advanced levels. As you take quizzes, Quizalto helps you track your progress over time. If our quizzes are not enough for you, you can even create your own quizzes using AI, and they don't even have to be about AWS products. Okay, let's get started. Good luck. What is the benefit of using AWS Application Migration Service for application migration? Requires manual intervention for each application. Lowers security standards. Minimizes downtime during migration. Increases network latency. How does AWS Application Migration Service help with application compatibility? By enforcing strict compatibility requirements. By converting applications to a new programming language. By automatically fixing all compatibility issues. By identifying incompatibilities and providing guidance. What is a benefit of using AWS Application Migration Service Replication Server Continuous Data Protection? Maximizes network latency. Improves server resource utilization. Automates server power management. Minimizes data loss during migrations. What is a benefit of using AWS Application Migration Service Connector for Hyper-V? Facilitates migration of Hyper-V-based workloads to AWS. Optimizes server memory usage. Automates server power management. Manages Docker container deployments. What is a benefit of using AWS Application Migration Service Replication Server Change Tracker? Increasing server cooling efficiency. Monitoring and documenting changes during migration processes. Automating server power management. Optimizing server memory allocation. Why is it recommended to perform a pre-flight data validation before migrating with AWS Application Migration Service? To speed up the migration process. To delay data replication tasks significantly. To verify data integrity and accuracy prior to migration. To ignore potential data migration blockages. What is the role of the AWS SMS connector in the migration process? Performs real-time monitoring of applications. Optimizes database performance. Manages user permissions in AWS. Facilitates communication between on-premises applications and AWS. What is a use case for AWS Application Migration Service Replication Server delays? Improving application performance. Minimizing network latency. Scaling server resources dynamically. Controlling the timing of cutover activities. How does AWS Application Migration Service handle network dependencies during migration? Identifies and maps dependencies between servers. Requires manual configuration for each dependency. Prioritizes speed over network stability. Blocks all network traffic during migration. What is a use case for AWS Application Migration Service Replication Server Reverse Sync? Scaling server resources dynamically. Minimizing network latency. Avoiding data loss during server migration. Improving application performance. What is the significance of leveraging AWS Server Migration Service with AWS Application Migration Service? Supports only partial data migration. Reduces security measures during migration. Increases migration complexity and downtime. Simplifies the process of migrating on-premises applications to AWS. What is a key factor to consider when using AWS Application Migration Service Replication Server Bandwidth Throttling? Frequency of server reboots. Server CPU temperature. Network bandwidth availability for data replication. Type of storage used by the servers. What is the primary function of the AWS Application Migration Service Replication Server Workload Replication feature? Automates server power management. Manages Docker container deployments. Replicates server workloads to the target environment. Optimizes server CPU usage. Why is real-time monitoring essential when using AWS Application Migration Service? Increases system latency and complexity. Delays the migration process significantly. Requires manual approval for each step of the migration. Ensures the successful completion of migration tasks and troubleshoots issues promptly. How does AWS Application Migration Service provide visibility into migration progress? By sending email notifications periodically. By generating daily migration reports. By prompting users for status updates manually. Through a centralized dashboard with real-time updates. What is a key advantage of using AWS Application Migration Service Connector for Terraform? Automates server patch management. Optimizes server memory allocation. Monitors server power consumption. Facilitates migration of Terraform-based workloads to AWS. What is the significance of the Migration Control option in AWS Application Migration Service? Requires manual approval for each migration task. Slows down the migration timeline. Facilitates managing migration tasks and dependencies. Increases network latency during migration. What is a benefit of using AWS Application Migration Service? Minimizes downtime during migrations. Increases on-premises storage capacity. Reduces network latency. Automates server backups. What is a key feature of the Application Migration Readiness Assessment option in AWS Application Migration Service? Automating the migration process entirely. Increasing server performance metrics. Limiting migration testing to a single application. Evaluating applications for compatibility with AWS. What is a key benefit of using AWS Application Migration Service for application migrations? Increases the likelihood of data loss during migration. Delays the migration timeline significantly. Automates the migration process to reduce errors. Requires significant manual intervention for each application. Why is assessing application dependencies vital before using AWS Application Migration Service? To increase server downtime during migration. To streamline user permissions for migration tasks. To avoid migration issues caused by dependencies. To ignore application compatibility concerns. What is a use case for AWS Application Migration Service Replication Server? Data warehousing. Disaster recovery. Continuous backup and recovery. Real-time data analytics. What is the purpose of the AWS Application Migration Service Project dashboard? To monitor network bandwidth usage. To manage user access control. To perform live backup of application data. To display the status and progress of migration projects. What is the purpose of the AWS Application Migration Service Template Library? To enforce strict application compatibility rules. To restrict access to specific resources during migration. To speed up encryption of data in transit. To simplify the migration process by providing predefined templates. What is the role of the Migration Best Practices Guide in AWS Application Migration Service? Provides guidance and recommendations for successful migrations. Increases migration complexity and delays. Limits migration to a small subset of applications. Automates the entire migration process. And that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone who participated. Remember, you can answer along on quizalto.com, where you can keep track of your progress and find much more quizzes. We hope you had a fun and challenging time. Until next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.